Yeah, yeah, yeah. Huh. Yeah. It's percolating. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning to the people on Facebook. Good morning to the people on IG. Good morning to the people on the YouTube. Good morning to the people on LinkedIn and Twitter too. Percolating.
Get a vibe, stay ready.
Truth in the cup, keep it strong, keep it steady.
Pull up a chair, yeah. Take a sip with me.
Good morning, good people. Java with Jimmy. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, the love percolating.
Vibe percolating.
Java with Jimmy. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, the love.
Vibe percolating.
Yeah,
Java with
Jimmy.
Good morning. Percolating.
Yeah, we in it.
Yeah, we in it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Java with Jimmy.
Percolating.
Yeah, we in it.
Yeah, we in it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Java with Jimmy.
Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fan.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Oh boy, kind of loud there. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Monday, June 1st, 2026, and welcome to the Java Cafe this morning. It is Mental Health Monday, and it's not every often that I feel compelling to I won't say teach, but just share some thoughts. I put up a post earlier around, mental health. Either be intentional about it or be inconvenienced about it. And so we're going to talk about that. That is today's mental health topic. I'm not a provider. However, I've been on a journey and this platform in speaking with providers and working for two of the world's top psychosomatic psychiatrists has given me a purview into some things. And again, not a clinician, but I'm going to share some things with you all in just a few moments. We're going to check in at Java Cafe and see who's in so far this morning. Let's go over on the Instagram section. Shout out to Brother Brandon and also Brother Jesse that's over there at Instagram. And he said, real MF and talk. Either deal with mental health with intention or you will be inconvenienced by it. And it's not to say that, addressing or trying to stay in front of keeping our mental health well, these braids and glasses and headphones are not a good combination, especially if your ears are sensitive. Okay, I think I'm good now. This is bugging me. But yeah, we're going to talk about it. So over in the Facebook section, let's go in and see who's in so far this morning. We have Nicole Campbell. Good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning. Dina Marshall Tarver. Good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning. Sister Debbie. Good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Brother Cliff Freeman. Good morning, sir. Good to see you in the room this morning. Dina is letting us know that I'm still sick of this cough and congestion isn't letting up. So Dina, I was somewhere between allergies and wondering if I caught something. And one thing that has helped, and Ari recommended this to me, I believe last year during allergy season, was nettle tea. Well, along with the nettle tea, I messed around and went and bought the actual nettle, like the herb, the supplement. And so I am taking the nettle tea supplement. And as you can hear, I sound a lot better. I'm not up with the hawking and spitting and all that stuff I've had the last week or so. And so, Dina, please feel better, hydrate, And also think about getting an air purifier, because that does help at home. And so you all send some healing and love and support to Dina Marshall Tarver as well this morning. Jumping back over in the Instagram section, our brother Jesse, and I think Brandon is still there as well. I am going to go ahead and brother Milton, what's up, brother? Good to see you in the room this morning. I got to get this brother booked again soon. And okay, Dina said that hers is sickness because she's clearing. And what that kind of means is an infection clearing up, or you got, well, we're not going to get too deep into it. But if you've had allergies or any of this respiratory stuff going on the last couple of years, this thing that you don't get a little, remember there used to be the little 48-hour flu? We don't have that anymore. All right, let's get into it. And just before we get into it, just a reminder that we will only be in the Java Cafe 3 days this week, today, tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then on Wednesday, we will not be here. And Thursday, we will broadcast 12:30 p.m. live from Copley Library at the News Feed Cafe with GBH Amplifies James Jimmy Hills, host of Java with Jimmy. I think that is it. There's some other things I want to share later. So I put up a post earlier, and it may not be verbatim, but I said mental health, be intentional or be inconvenienced. And first, let me just set some context around the inconvenience. We can be intentional to the top degree, do everything right when it comes to maintaining our mental wellness and addressing our mental illness. Let me pause there for a second. Thanks to Toy Burton, even before there was a Java with Jimmy, I seen what Toy was doing around mental health and suicide prevention. I invited her to come and have a conversation with us, and she did. And in that conversation, as much as I've been around mental health, I also learned to be very intentional, there goes that word again, about understanding that there is a different sort of in maintaining your mental wellness and addressing your mental health. Now, in reverse, addressing your mental illness, maintaining your mental wellness and addressing any mental illness. In reverse, if you address any mental illnesses, you're maintaining your mental wellness. With that being said, you can do everything, quote unquote, right. You can go for walks, you can drink water, you can journal, you can see a therapist. That intention does not negate inconvenience. However, there is a distinction between being intentional, similar to what we talk about on Testimony Tuesday, where the inconvenience of lifing and those tests coming up unexpected, you get a testimony from that. However, we've learned also that there's a testimony tone also in when you are intentional about testing yourself, similar to me testing myself and getting that Shauna Bryant told me to stop saying little, getting that AI credential that I got a couple of weeks ago. I tested and stretched myself to attend those classes for 90 minutes for a few weeks and learn some things about AI. And so with that being said, intentionality does not negate inconvenience. And so here's where I am. First of all, let's understand the difference of intention and inconvenience. And we're going to go to good old school Webster's. Intention is defined like this. Well, first of all, if I can type it, I'm going to read it right from the internet. Intention is defined as the following. An intention, hear this, is a mental state representing a committed plan or aim to perform in a certain action. Let me read that again. An intention is a mental state representing a committed plan or aim to perform a certain action. Second word in the definition is mental. Remember that. Now, let's look up the definition for inconvenience. Somebody, I can hear it in your spirit. I don't need to look up the definition for inconvenience. You can just look at me and see some inconvenience. Inconvenience, as defined, is it refers to a trouble, difficulty, or annoyance that causes delay or loss of comfort. So, intention is defined a mental state representing a committed plan or aim to perform a certain action. And then inconvenience again is defined as a trouble, difficulty, or annoyance that causes delay or you to be uncomfortable. So let's talk about it. Those two definitions can give us a purview into the importance of intentionality. Let's just set a couple of things. First is an example of intention versus inconvenience is this, and I'll do it in reverse. And I've heard someone say this on the show. I've seen it on social media and different providers and people on a mental wellness sustaining journey have said, and it sometimes may come across as a judgment statement and kind of hard on the people that aren't as progressive on their mental health healing journey. However, you may have been inconvenienced by your childhood trauma. Everything that went on in the house, from the abuse, molestation, to the impact of poverty, losing grandparents, losing friends and loved ones, that inconvenience is real. And as I said earlier, those are types of inconveniences that even if you are a champion of maintaining your mental wellness and addressing your mental illness, those things can knock you for a loop. Keep that in mind. I've often said that we are intentional in this space around mental health, thankfulness, and gratitude because it serves as a proactive buffer when things come to fight those notions. And so that is the inconvenience on a individual level that at some point as an adult, it behooves you to be intentional about that inconvenience around your healing. Even from the unintended to the intended of the inconvenience of your childhood trauma, intentionality in a committed plan to accomplish an aim toward a certain task is to address what happened. And let me park for a minute. Jonathan Gates was on here and talked about it, and a couple of other people have talked about it. Especially if you are a parent, it behooves you to be intentional about your mental health, because otherwise the inconveniences of your unaddressed trauma that is valid, that is real, that inconvenienced you, and more than inconvenienced, scarred, traumatized you, if you are not intentional about that, you're going to deal with some inconveniences of your children. On another note, there are inconveniences that happen in life that also contribute to inconveniences around relationships, family dynamics, and things like that. They're very, very real. And so that is an example of individual inconvenience that needs to turn to intention. Now, let's take it to a macro level, a very relevant macro level. What sparked, I'll be honest and transparent with you all, what sparked this thought started on a macro level, not an individual one. Unlike other years, the attention that everyday residents, I believe, are paying attention to budget cuts and what's going on has increased. It has increased. And in that vein, I'm watching what's going on. First of all, the mayor, and this is no cap, the mayor has multiplicities of lenses to look through when it comes to her budget. And yes, I agree. Your budget are your programming or people priorities. Absolutely. However, someone said to me this weekend when we were talking about it, and they are entrepreneur in the finances and whatnot, and the statement was made that she's looking out for, I believe we have a AAA credit bond rating. That is valuable as a municipality. It is. And so I just say that because there is, understanding that budgets are your priorities for programming and people. I'm looking at some things and I'm like, and I've reached out. I said, can we check in this week around the budget just to share some things and ideas? But then on the other side, okay, fine. The mayor has her responsibility. And then the city council has their responsibility. And I'm going somewhere with this on the macro level of being intentional around mental health or be inconvenienced. And this can be applied to mental health in the budget in this particular context. The city council needs to be intentional about prioritizing items and investments in a proactive manner. It makes sense to me that if you are intentional about funding Black male advancement, funding the LGBTQIA2S plus and all the other letters, funding that office, women's advancement. If you are not intentional about, and I'm going to be specific, pull that money. We're going to spend the money either way, but doesn't it just make sense to be intentional about investing it in the front? Maybe if you took some of that BPD money, invested it back in putting clinicians with BPD, invested it in BCYA facility improvement, opening late hours, invested it in Black male mental health with Dr. Kevin Simone, invested it in entrepreneurship and that Black economic hub P3. Hi, how y'all doing? Doing that intentionally, I've never been a Ways and Means person. I've never had to be a mayor and present a budget. I've never been a city councilor and had to give input on a budget. However, I've been impacted by your decisions one ways or another. My point there is that the intention up front will help avoid some inconveniences. Maybe the police overtime budget is the way it is. Well, one is because we could use the civilian flaggers. Do you know how many times I've rolled down the street in the past 2 weeks and seen BPD at a work site or something, and they're literally on their phone? 2 or 3. There was one time where there were 2 down at one end of the street that they were blocking and 2 at the other. They were talking, and I'm sitting there trying to get through traffic, and they're not paying attention. You could save some money there. The other way you could save some money is, I would presume that a good portion of the overtime is probably, yes, details, is probably, when captains have to go out for parades and all that other stuff. That stuff is there, and they need to figure out how to get some sort of stipend versus 3 times your hourly rate. Another conversation. Shootings, robberies, domestic violence. I presume that that's a portion of the police budget overtime, generally, and or over. What do you call it? Standard budget or overtime. With intentionality, thinking proactively about the inconveniences of you spending more money, responding and being reactive to something, intention, and I'm going back to intention and inconvenience. Intention on a macro level, yes, mental health, but budget, I'm conflating both of these. It again, never been a mayor, never been a city councilor, but logic says proactiveness helps. Proactiveness takes away a lot of the reactive and responsiveness that a lot of that BPD budget is probably attributed to. I'm going to pull myself in just a little bit. JL said because of abuse, not work detail. There's a bit of abuse there because the civilian flaggers could save a lot of money and it gives people jobs. I don't know why I'm here this morning. On an individual level and a macro level, there have to be investments made in the intention of your mental health versus inconvenience. Okay, on an individual level, an investment in, and I've been kind of quiet about this, and some people know about it, and I probably can't put the picture up, but I've made an investment in a new model of my mental health. Sometimes it stresses me out just a teeny bit because this model of mental health requires commitment, requires paying attention, and requires what's the other word? Being very detail oriented. You all probably can't see it too well. Hold on. But I made an investment. I'm now a plant dad. I say a plant zaddy. All right, let's get this camera back to, okay, we're good. I made an investment. Couldn't travel, didn't want to travel. And y'all know my self-care is expensive. Food and trips, balconies and beaches. I made a conscious decision. I said, one, the trip will be over. Yes, I'll have pictures and we must travel. We must go away and take breaks and all that other stuff. But these things are going to be here. I walk out 3 o'clock in the morning and stop at the living room, the dining room, and just stand there for about 2 minutes, talk about, oh, they're so beautiful. And, well, anyway, I'm not going to stay there. My point there is that individually, we have to make an investment. That was an example. The other investments that we have to make are times and intentionality around journaling, intentionality around seeking out a therapist. Let me pause here for a minute. When it comes to therapists and when it comes to having people that may have similar life experience, there aren't a lot out there that is real. It's going to take investment of your time and intentionality. It's like dating. You find a therapist, finding a therapist is often like dating. You got to keep going on a date, have your first session, be like, nope, that's not it. And then one day you meet a therapist and you're like, I think I'm on date number 2. Individual investments with intentionality can help avoid further inconveniences. And I'm going to keep saying this. Intentionality does not disbar inconvenience. However, if you're in a proactive, intentional state of maintaining your mental wellness and addressing your mental illness, when those inconveniences, lifing pops up, guess what? You're a little better prepared to bounce back. So that's the individual investments that we have to make. Now, I'm not going to go back to the macro totally on the politics. I already covered this. On a macro level, there must be investments made with intentionality, or you're going to be inconvenienced by increased crime. A thought just crossed my mind. And let me just say this so it's off my chest. And I got my notes, and so I won't get distracted and I can go back. I don't want to conflate the two. Just somebody remind me in the comments before I end today to talk about Counselor Durkin, her comment and commentary. Investments on a macro level contribute to avoiding the rate of inconvenience of disinvestment. The disinvesting that right now that's been done by the mayor's budget and then is not being pushed back with an intentional manner with the foresight to look at. Fine. The mayor has the CEO responsibility about the bond rating and look out for the financial of the city. That's her job. That's her job. Let's keep it 100. Here's where the other side of 5 is where the checks and balances should be. Balance. Mayor, we get it. You're looking out. You're the CEO of this business, city of Boston. We get it. The balance is, hey, one, tap into a little bit of the rainy day fund. Does that mess with the credit score? I believe it does. The balance that the city council should be pushing back to the mayor is, you said this, we get it. However, in the long run, with intentionality to avoid, the mayor has her responsibility with the inconvenience of the budget cuts from the state and the federal and all that other stuff that is going on. That is an inconvenience, and she has that intentionality. We are better served. That's the CEO role. That's the lens that she looks through. The lens that I would believe that the city councilors offer that checks and balances is, yes, appreciating the CEO's perspective, but you got the power of your vote with that budget. Shout out to JL and others, Councilor Mejia. All of them have been forthcoming and sharing a lot of information about what's going on in the budget. And the latest thing I saw is this little, and Ben Weber's about to get a tag. And I'll be honest, that was a lot of the motive when I sat there and thought about intentionality versus inconvenience. It is Mental Health Monday and it applies, but it just baffles me that there is not enough demonstrated. I won't say, I don't like when people attribute things to character like you don't care and he's this and he's that, but by action let's keep it the facts. What the people have said about the budget and about the impact, those that are serving, you got to push back. You got to be intentional on pushing back on the other side of 5. Because either way, the investment's going to be made. But doesn't it make sense to invest it with intention versus forced to, you're not really being forced, but being reactionary, individual level, we have to make investments in maintaining our mental wellness and addressing our mental illness. And on a macro level, from a budgetary, that eventually has an impact on everybody's mental health. You think the mayor is just going to bed and you're not stressing, even if it was just political mental health. City councilors, all the energy they're getting from the community, it impacts their mental health. But ultimately, if they are not intentional, everybody's mental health and health is going to be impacted one way or another. People are still saying that we haven't seen the worst of what's to come. Somebody, the same person I talked to this weekend that kind of knows some things in politics and finances said, oh no, the real hard hit 2 years out from now. Intentionality, just on we talked about mental health, a little bit of budget and finance. Start saving your money now. I'm going to go to the comments in a minute. I just want to make sure that I finished all my notes. Here are the benefits, and I kind of touched on this, but I want to plainly articulate it and state it. The benefits of preserving and being intentional about your mental health your health is improved. And to me, health and mental health and housing are right next to each other. I told somebody the other day that was talking about a living situation, and they were like, well, you know, I don't want to put first, last, and security and maybe a broker's fee into something because I'm trying to save for a house and I'm out here hustling. And but yo, home right now is not, and the person said peace 3 times. And I had to say to them, mental health and housing, if those 2 things aren't as intact as they can be, everything else is going to struggle. Everything else is going to be a challenge. Why? I'll just say for me, when I come in here and shut this door, my home is my castle. I have an ability to go on D&D and lock out the world. That's a little bit of my piece. But imagine if you don't make that investment and that person stays in that home situation that is not peaceful, their mental is constantly discombobulated when they're supposed to be resting, when they're supposed to be maybe journaling or breathing in that unpeaceful home. And so my point is that there is a benefit to prioritizing intentionality around your mental health. It improves your health. You are financially a little bit better. You're not as clouded by being reactionary to lifing. A situation comes up, you can kind of address it. It helps your finances. You can better think about spending and saving and things like that. It helps with your work and productivity, and it helps with family and relationships. Intentionality around your mental health and making that investment is huge. If you're married, it helps dealing with your spouse and your children. If you're single, a lot of women have said that they love a man that addresses their mental health. Now, women, you also got to be balanced and not, some have reported that it was used against them when they opened up and were vulnerable. And a man also loves a woman that is emotionally intelligent enough to handle all that they've been through, and also while addressing theirs, while the man is addressing theirs as well. All type of benefits around intentional investment in your mental health. I don't need to go into the benefits again of the macro level. I will say this: 3 words. Intentionality around investments in a proactive manner on a macro level, not just the budget and the civic stuff, but saves money to the budget and the civic stuff. It saves money. More than that, I'm sorry, I remembered I put another note there. It builds better communities. It makes individuals more neighborly. That's my talk this morning on mental health, being intentional or being inconvenienced. So there's a lot of comments in here. So we're going to go to the comments. And it's 10:36. So we're going to go, oh boy, folks are in here. Shout out to Catch, Jess. The DTs are a major inconvenience in my desire to get sober. Love and support with you, brother Jess. But there's intentionality. He said my major inconvenience. Desire is desire. Don't discount desire. Desire and want to. If you can tap into that, that is good enough to get you to some more intention, generally speaking. Brother DL, good morning to you. Pastor Latrell Chase. Freeish J was in the Java Cafe as well. Let's go back over the Facebook and look at some of these comments. I got a text from someone that certain people in my life like starting trouble, and I'll just leave that right there. All right, let's check some of the comments. Mother Lisa Davis is in the room from the DMV. Jubilous June, Jimmy, my darling sister Gina, and the entire Java family. Good morning to Milagro. Milagro. Good morning to my sister Nakia. Good morning to Jenny. Good morning to Brother Mingo. Good morning to Latoya. All right, we're starting to get some comments here. Latoya says, this is so true. I've been working through my traumas because I don't want to contribute anything to my kids. No commentary there. Negatively. She specified she wants to be a positive contributor. I see my brother Rob is in the room. Good morning. I don't know what this was. The comments are delayed, Jo. Pam, good morning. I think we should say congratulations to you for the equity breakfast that I think took place on Friday. Shout out to you. J.L. Smith is saying the AAA rating has nothing to do with it does. It does. It how it's being done and what we're seeing with the impact of it, the overall that is a lens where the CEO of a city and a state, and we've been talking about a lot of, just local municipal, but some of that state budget, some of these state reps and state senators need a little tap on the shoulder too, in addition to both sides of five. But it does. Toy, good morning. Speaking of mental health, we will be with Toy on Friday at the Black Men's Mental Health Summit. And so shout out to her for her commitment and still making space and holding that space. JL also said the overtime budget has ballooned because of, I think I read that earlier, abuse and not work details. Work details are part of the abuse, are part of the systemic way that overtime and all that other stuff for jobs where people are standing with their phones and not directing traffic. You can give more jobs to civilian flaggers. That went away when we lost our counselor, Laura. Charlotte James in the room. Glad to see things happen, Charlotte. You know what I'm talking about. Good morning to you. Asia, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning. Charlotte said that Mental Health Monday word of the day is intentional. That's obvious. But thank you for the affirmation. I don't know if you typed that before we started talking today. And as I'm talking and going through the comments, put some more comments and put one word in the comments that talks about your mental health status today. How are you feeling right now in the moment? Miss Teresa, good morning. Police details a problem out here too. They are out there, but on their phones, sometimes they are doing. That's an environment thing. And what I mean by environment, the environment of law enforcement and municipalities and how the unions and them, Milton, I'm planning my next trip now to the point of my trip is 50% planned. I'll just leave that there. Just to let y'all know, there will be no Java with Jimmy on Tuesday, June 16th and on Tuesday, June 23rd. Asia said is saying hello to Pastor Sharon. You have to talk to the plant babies. When I say good morning, even so much so I have a tendency to say good morning, ladies. And then I'm looking at a couple of them. I'm like, what's up, bro? But yes, I do. I play music to them. Y'all can't hear it now, but I have an atmosphere app and there'll be birds chirping. I'll put on the sunrise on the TV across from the plants. Oh, listen, intentional in investment. I had to go through a lot to be more intentional and to invest in myself in a non get your toes and nails done, get on a plane, like the inner work. That's an investment that needs intention. Everybody ain't ready for it, but to Jesse's point, the desire to start with that. Do not let that go. And Jess, I hope you heard me. Live Greasy, what's up, bro? I've been working on my trauma so I can lead the community. Yes, sir. Reggie, good morning. Good to see you. From Patricia as well. And Liv Greasy is saying Wednesday is the Black Men's Mental Health Summit. I did mention that. Also, good morning to Forbidden Virgo. Okay, I kind of, I was born under the tropic. Virgo was in the sky in September. I don't say I'm a Virgo, but shout out to Forbidden. Anyway, Forbidden Virgo. I like that. Dina Marshall Tarver saying completely off topic, but is anyone in the Java Cafe has Dina, I rather it this than you putting up some comment that takes me on a whole different way. Listen, folks, Domingo, are you still in here? Completely off topic, but if anyone in the Java Cafe has a ladder over 10 feet and want to make $50 for 10 minutes of work, please message me. Mingo. Let me start a little bit of trouble this morning. I don't know if I want to do this. Thank you for the note, Miss Teresa. Is Mingo still on here, y'all? All right, let me get in some trouble real quick. So we can, this is what we do in the Java Cafe, right? We get folks taken care of. I'm in the app. We get folks taken care of when the camera's on and when the camera's off. Okay. Boom. Are you going to connect? Oh, come on. This is good. Dina, you owe me for this one because I'm going to have to endure this brother for about a good 5 minutes or so. All right, there we go. All right. Let's see what happens.
What up, James?
Mingo, you're live on Java with Jimmy.
What's up, Jimmy?
Nothing. Since you came out of the cafe, I have a sister in here. She said completely off topic, but if anyone in the Java Cafe has a ladder over 10 feet and want to make $50 for 10 minutes of work, please message her. Can I connect the two of you? You know her if you see her.
I wouldn't be able to help her out. I'm in the middle of a project.
Well, when can you do it? Bingo.
Are you there?
I'm here. I'm live. I got you. You're on screen right now with her request up there. And I just, when she put it up, honestly, when she put it up, I was like, if Mingo's still here, ask him. But it's good to talk to you, man.
Well, we're in June, man, and we're working on many issues. Condolences to the firefighter who lost his life during a tragic incident. But we need more fire safety training for residents. We need to make sure codes and ordinance are up to date to fit today's needs. A lot of folks do not own a fire extinguisher. Landlords don't provide them because it's not a part of the safety plan. But those are the things that, we can be working on so this doesn't happen to another Boston family. Our city's in mourning for many reasons. We have another young person who was murdered about a week ago, who's being laid to rest this morning.
This is brother Gio?
Yeah, Gio. And then we had another young gentleman who was laid to rest Thursday last week, Michael. And, not a lot of conversations are being had about how these two families were impacted. The Cape Verdean community is going to see an uptick in violence again because of this incident with Gio. So, there's a lot of things that we need to be able to invite folks to the table to have these convos because we're entering June. The weather's going to start getting warmer. Your topic, again, this is Mental Health Month, and it's compound trauma, and folks don't get to heal. And by the time you do get to heal, there's another trauma right on top of the trauma. But
you hit it on the head. Today. You hit it on the head. The point about brother Gio, I talked to Peter a few hours after it happened. It hurt my heart to hear about that. And then him and Mario and others that have worked within the community, that was a thought, you know what I mean? And then at the same time, you have our brother Mario that announced the other day that MBK was shutting down, you know what I mean? And so there's a lot. It's tiring. And then also, Mingo, a lot of this work comes out of pocket. You know what I mean? And yes, we've had the conversation about hustling and whatnot, but it just, to your point, and what I was saying earlier, that we have to be intentional about investments, not only in mental health, but with this budget in ourselves and community. Cause bro, the way things are looking right now, you're talking about just this summer, they're, to your point, violence is going on away from June through September. But then also there is, those that are going to be felt with touched by foreclosure, utilities not being able to be paid and things. And so I don't want to be, all doom and gloom, Mingo, but these things are real. And if we don't talk about them, I think that the inconvenience of not being in front of and intentional is going to be more alarming and have a worse of an impact on us.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, man, we've been at this too many decades. It's not a couple of years. These are decades of coming together and trying to figure out what is the best way to address these issues. We fought through the 90s to make sure things in the 2000s was a little different, and we're in the 2026 and we're still having the same conversation when it comes to youth and the violence that comes along with when our young people don't see the value that we should have displayed on their lives. And this is where we're at today. Kids across the country are out here causing and creating a lifestyle that they are not going to be able to bounce back for years. We're watching more and more young adults get picked up with unregistered firearms on a daily, 3, 4, 5, at least a week. And folks are not really looking into why. This street drama, just because you don't see guys hanging out on the corner like they used to doesn't mean that drama's still not out there.
It's on social media now or in group chats.
Oh, yeah. Group chats, social media, video games. Folks are playing these video games.
Discord and all of that. Okay. Like they're doing the chat and stuff in Discord while they're playing.
I mean, we had the party line, so there's no difference in what it is. Just the technology has, moved forward. But, we were on the party line talking about where you from.
You're right.
For our generation. So how do we go about, this is the same wheel with the hamster. Like, again, we're going around the same circle. We just added a few more mothers.
Mingo, and that's insanity. We keep doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. Brother,
you gotta understand.
Go ahead.
You gotta change the folks at the table.
Or a whole new table. Or push that or a whole new damn house.
You got to get rid of who's at the table. It's the reality of it. You got to stop giving, people credit for things that financially you get paid to do. Meanwhile, folks like myself and others in the city who do it out of the kindness of our heart, when we speak, it's like, no, he doesn't have a PhD in stupidity. So his conversation doesn't equal the result that we're looking for. I've saved thousands of lives. Thousands, not one or two. I mean, my first award was given to me by Menino in 97 because I didn't expose the truth that goes on within the system. Then when I did, it was a little too late because I was already blackballed. But anyway, it's not about me. It's about these families who today is going to lay their loved one to rest. And again, the trauma response, it shouldn't be a response. It should be a proactive approach versus a
Mingo, you're going to take me in because it don't take much for me to put it this way, you'll appreciate this. Old Jimmy's been knocking me on my shoulder, and I've really been trying to keep him at bay a little bit, but we talk about balance. I'm finding a balance of that energy, just presenting it with a smile instead of slapping somebody upside the head with it.
I understand, you're trying to keep your sanity, but the reality is why you put in all those years of work if we're going to go back and lose everything we put on the table and was able to fight and get. Community centers are closed. We still don't have a swimming pool open in Dorchester and Roxbury. We're talking about 10 to 15 years. This administration said we're going to invest
Can I ask you a question?
Infrastructure. Yep.
Can I ask you a question? And then I really got to run because I was planning on being done at 10:30 today. But Dina's question, and if you don't know, no, because a lot of folks that you're connected to are burying Gio today. And so I won't put that on you. We'll figure out how to get this message out that Dina has a ladder need. But I want to ask you, Mingo, in very briefly, and I'm going to challenge you to not name the systems. Mingo, where is our power, energy, and like they work for us? You know what I'm saying? And so what is it that you In your perfect world, Mingo, I know in your perfect world, budgets would be things and we'd be all set. But in the way that things are now, what do you recommend that residents do?
Well, I mean, I've said this a few times. There's no point of protesting if you're not going to show up in November. We can exert all the energy we want all year. We can put up all the petitions we want and have 10,000 plus signatures on this petition, but those 10,000 signatures need to show up in November when your protest is at the ballot.
And away from the ballot too. Away from the ballot, budget meetings. Go ahead. What else?
You got to show up to these hearings. You got to show up to these working sessions and address issues that you see is detrimental to your cause.
What if I have to work though? What if I have to work though?
Listen, man, we make priorities, right? People use their vacation time and their PTO as need be. These hearings are set on a schedule yearly. Like I said, when I was the chapter president of SEIU AAA, I got the budget in January. 2027 budget has been out since January. Every single union that negotiates with the city of Boston has gotten a copy of that budget since January. And they've been able to work through it for their members, for their
priority.
Increases.
Yep.
So the union is making sure they reap the benefit of the budget. Meanwhile, we as a city, we get it in March, April, end of May. We're talking about it in silos. Folks who are getting money now are not. So now all of a sudden they're dissatisfied with the budget. I was dissatisfied with the budget 30 years ago when I found out the red shirt was only hiring a handful of kids in the neighborhood, and then they handpicked 10 kids from department head family members. That was my beef with Gloria Moon.
Oh, Mingo, you are not going to me. Mingo, I love you. I always love you. I do sense that you put posts up, but I had bugged you for months to kind of step back and take a break. And I see some of that to some extent. So on this Mental Health Monday, I want to encourage you to still stay intentional, and your investments go without saying. And just, we appreciate you, man. I know we will never hear, the last from Domingo, but we'll
oh no, you won't.
Well, is there anything that you want? Hold on. Is there anything you want to share with us right now?
Well, what I'm saying is, when you drive through Chinatown on a Friday night, they got a community watch out there for policing their neighborhood to make sure things don't happen. And then they bring up the attention of, young people riding around Chinatown on a bike, on their bicycles, and that becomes, front page news. Meanwhile, we're losing kids every day for different reasons. And our community, a handful of us are trying, and then the other handful of us are too busy throwing stones at the ones who are trying. So all I'm saying is, listen, we're all on the same boat, and it's sinking. So figure out, if you're going to learn to swim, you got to do it now, because sooner or later, whatever goes on in this city is going to knock on your door, from being displaced, from the violence, from employment, you name it, is happening. And our children are the ones who are sacrificed because they're the first one to get the budget cut. BPS is losing 400 staff members. The Lee School has a swimming pool that hasn't been used in years, same as the Halden. The Marshall Pool is being used, but it's not full to capacity. So things like that matters on the health of the community. Our community centers were designed to be the heart of our community. 23 communities in Boston, and we had 24 community centers. So each community was able to provide the services through these centers. And when you drive up and down our neighborhood, you might find one open, you might find one closed. So I like that.
That was the model from some years ago. But Mingo, we can do this forever, and it's 10:57. I got to get off.
Go ahead, man. No, you have a good one. I
love you, man. Please grip up Peter and Mario and them for me. And I've also been thinking about the young men that we're working with them in MBK and whatnot. And so can you say what's Gio's last name? Say his name.
It's tough. I always got his last name. I don't want to mispronounce it.
All right.
It's like Baila.
But his full name was Giovanni, right?
Yeah.
Giovanni.
And again, I'm not looking forward to this 3:00 liquor license crap, because all it's going to do is increase some of that nighttime violence. There's no reason why, our liquor stores are open till 11, but when I go to Brookline, they close at 9.
Mingo, get off of here because we could do this all day.
I love you, man.
I love you too, man. Thank you, brother.
Peace.
All right, sir. I do that once in a while, and I think it was definitely rich and important for us to do that with Mingo today. We will never. I think the last we'll hear from Mingo is when Jesus come, and then he going to tell Jesus that he could have went a little to the left to be right in the middle of equity. No, I really appreciate that, brother. And it as he said, it's decades. It's decades. We are going to get ready to wrap up in just a couple of seconds. Wait a minute, hold on. Natasha Faye Sanders, a young lady that I've known for many years. She said, my brother is now the Lee School and has worked his butt off to get that pool open. Please support him. He's the new director. So we have an understanding. We have an update. The Lee School pool is open. The Lee School pool is open. And Natasha, which brother? But yes, good to see you in the room, sis. You didn't need to correct that. We knew what you said. All right, folks, we're going to get ready to wrap up right after this break real quick. Some very important information to share. Don't forget, there are a couple of events that I shared with you that are coming. And where is this thing that I need? And how come it ain't here? I thought hold on. Why ain't this? Where did it? Oh, shoot! It downloaded the pictures. Hold on. I think I can open it. Hold on, y'all. Okay, I can open it. It ain't the. Hold on. Let's see what happens. Y'all are really gonna like what I'm about. Some of you may have already seen it, but let's just see if this thing will work for me the way I need it to. Hold on. Again, going back to 2020. You know we'll do stuff right here in real time. All right, let's go and see what happens. If it doesn't work, then we'll debut it tomorrow. It didn't work. I'm still going to show y'all a clip of it today. Hold on.
Boston.
Hold on. All right, here we go. Check out this quick. Let's see what happens. Oh, it did do it. Here we go, yo.
Boston. This is bigger than a race. One Love Sports Academy is bringing the community together for the One Love Indoor 5K Challenge. Kids, families, runners, walkers, every single step supports Boston youth. Come be a part of something powerful. June 27th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at 120 MLK Boulevard in Roxbury.
Yo, y'all tell me y'all are not proud of Brother Jamal. I just want to play it again. Hold on.
Boston. This is bigger than a race. One Love Sports Academy is bringing the community together for the One Love Indoor 5K Challenge. Kids, families, runners, walkers, every single step supports Boston youth. Come be a part of something powerful. June 27th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at 120 MLK Boulevard in Roxbury.
So that's the event I've been telling you about, One Love Sports Academy on June 27th and on June 28th. Yard Time is having a bike ride as well. So those are two events that are coming up the end of this month. All right, we're going to get ready to wrap up. Union Capital members, you get 90 minutes for today. It is 11:02. That was not by design. You get 90 minutes for watching today. Again, we'll be back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Wednesday, no show. The Java Cafe will be closed. And on Tuesday, we will open up late in our pop-up location for GBH Amplifies. James Jimmy Hills, host of Java with Jimmy. And our special guests this Thursday are the Davis System. Aaron and Anthony Davis will talk to us a little bit of the recap of the state Democratic Party convention that took place this weekend, and also just to get both of their perspectives about politics, Black Boston. Aaron, born and raised here in Boston. Anthony has a perspective as he is technically not from the city, but then also he is sought after nationally around civic engagement and community development and building up voices of equity in the community. And so we'll get both perspectives. Anthony, someone who is migrated here, and then Aaron, who grew up here, will get their perspectives. And again, learn some of the things that happened at the convention this weekend. All right, before we go, I just wanted to share a thought. I saw a clip of Councillor Durkin on the record this weekend, similar to when I saw Commissioner Cox. I've been trying to get Commissioner Cox booked. I've been emailing and texting his comms person, and I emailed her and included the mayor's new comms person and the mayor's new press secretary. Because every time I see the commissioner in public, he says, Jimmy, you know, is it my time? Is it time for me to come? That man's been in office for 4 years. And I hit him after that incident with Stevenson King and said, oh, sir, it's time. So anyway, my point is I saw Sharon Durkin on the record, and it please don't sleep as disrespectful and the notion of her invoking the incident with former Councilor Tanya Anderson. Do not be fooled that Sharon Durkin will not come out and say, but I can strongly presume that she's referencing to some of the black and brown counselors on the council. I can afford, you know, a pay cut, but you know, people have families and Miss Durkin, Sharon, you're out of order. And happy to chat with you about it next time we see each other in community. Not a problem. So with that being said, we're going to get ready to go. Hold on. Bro, Perkins Lee School. Natasha is clarifying. Now we're old. We say Lee School, but it's the it says Perkins now, but to us it's the Lee School. Everyone, thank you for today. I got to be honest, chatting with you all about this was a little bit of an outlet for me with my frustration around some of the observations and things I see going on. But we'll be back tomorrow for Testimony and or Transformative Tuesday. Again, we'll see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. I don't think I missed any announcements. All right. Thank you all. Peace.